and today I am the resurrection and the life. So once again, we're looking at these, but we're looking at them from a different perspective. We're looking at them from more of a contemplative approach, kind of a different understanding, maybe looking at them from a different viewpoint, a different lens. We're trying to repent. We've always seen them this way. Maybe it's time we repent and look at them from a different angle, see them differently. So in John chapter 11, this is where Lazarus is sick. Lazarus, the brother of Martha and Mary. And, Jesus doesn't go. And Lazarus dies. And they say, well, look, if you would have been here, you could have saved him. And Jesus says, don't you know that I am the resurrection and the life? All who believe in me will never die. This is also where we get the shortest verse in all of Scripture, John 11:35, Jesus wept. Because Jesus loved Lazarus. He loved Mary, he loved Martha, and he loved Lazarus. These are people who were very close to him. And so when Lazarus dies, Jesus weeps at the loss of Lazarus. But then, he goes to the tomb and he says, hey guys, roll the stone away. Jesus, he's been dead for a few days now. I think it's like 4 days. I can read the story. It's like 4 days. Trust me on it. And it's going to smell. And Jesus is like, guys, just do what I tell you to do, okay? Roll the stone away. And they roll the stone away. And he says, Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus gets up and walks out of the tomb. Alive. Not dead. Not in heaven. Alive. And so Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. All those who believe in me shall never die. So typically we look at this and we say, see, Jesus is the resurrection and the life. When I die, he's going to resurrect me and take me to heaven one day. And that's fine. If, once again, we want to boil all of this book and the cross and everything, we just want to boil that up into life insurance, that's fine, you can. But maybe there's something more going on here. Maybe Jesus is calling us to life. Maybe he's looking at something deeper than just the surface level, right? And so we want to go deep. We have the parable of the sower, and the sower's going, and some seed gets spilled on the road, and the birds quickly come in and they eat it up. Some seed gets spread into the rocky ground, and it goes in and it quickly shoots up and it spreads and it's fine, but it has no depth of root, therefore it quickly withers and dies. Some seed gets spread out into the thorny bushes and they get choked out and they never produce fruit. Some seed gets spread out under the good soil and goes deep and bears fruit for many, 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 many years. And so my contention in this parable is the realization that the church, not the church, the body of Christ, but the church as in the institutional Christian institution that we've created, the Christian evangelicalism, denominationalism, whatever you want to call it, Western Christianity, we are the seed that was spread into the rocky soil. We shot up quick, and we spread really fast. But very slowly we're withering away because there's no depth to what we have. It was all just surface level. It was all just life insurance policies. There's no depth. There's no transformation really occurring in the lives of people. They're just getting the free ticket to heaven. They're dying and going off to heaven, and everything else just withers away and dies. Paul writes in Romans 6. I never lose Romans. Romans, as many of you know, is besides John. Romans used to be my favorite book. Now it's probably John. Romans is right there. But Romans 6, Apostle Paul writes this, starting in verse 4. Therefore, we have been buried with him through baptism into death, so that as Christ was raised from the dead through the glory of the Father, so we too might walk in the newness of life. We might walk in the newness of life. For if we have become united with him in the likeness of his death, certainly we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection, knowing this, that our old self was crucified with him in order that our body of sin might be done away with, so that we would no longer be slaves to sin. For he who has died is freed from sin. Now, if we have died with Christ, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that Christ, having been raised from the dead, is never to die again. Death is no longer master over him. The death that he died to once for all. No, once again, not once and for all. He died once for all. Right? Not just all Christians. He died for all women, all men, all Buddhists, all Muslims. He died once for all. Okay, I'm not making this up. This is what the scriptures say. You want to believe the scriptures, believe the scriptures. If you don't, don't. But the life that he lives to God. Even so, consider yourselves to be dead to sin, but alive to God in Christ Jesus. So we used to have this old self. The old self, my old self, died at 25. Okay? He went to the cross, got in the DeLorean, traveled back 2,000 years, climbed up on the cross with Christ, and died. When Jesus gave up his spirit, my old self died too. I was brought down off the cross with Christ. I was wrapped up in fine linen. I was placed in the tomb with him. I was in the tomb, buried with him. 3 days later, I resurrected out of the tomb. Paul's saying it here. We were in the likeness of his death, the likeness of his burial, and the likeness of his resurrection. Death no longer has master over me. I am a new creation, living in the newness of life that the resurrection and the life has given me. And it doesn't take place when I go to heaven, when I die. So last night, Jessica and Madison were doing manicures and pedicures in the living room, and I went to the bedroom. I'm laying in bed at 8 o'clock. So once again, 8 o'clock is my bedtime, if you don't know. If I reach out to me after 8 o'clock, I'm in bed. And I'm looking through Amazon Prime, trying to find something to watch. And I come across I Can Only Imagine. I haven't seen it yet. And to be honest with you, I don't really plan on it because the Christian movies just really aren't my thing. I don't really enjoy them. And I was like, whatever, I'll watch it. I love the song. I like history. Knowing the history of the song would be good. So I watched the movie. Great story. Terrible movie. And I don't mean that the movie was bad. Just the acting's bad. It's just, it's not going to win an Oscar anytime soon, right? But the message of the movie, the story, was very good. And very powerful. And I'm laying in there, and I've heard this song a million times. I mean, we've sung it in here hundreds of times. I know the song by heart. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it. And I'm listening, at the very end, I don't know if he's spoiler, he sings the song he wrote. But I'm actually listening to it. And he says, this is what he says. I can only imagine what it'll be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm a phenomenal singer. But as I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm watching the story, and I'm watching the Father, and I'm watching the Father come to life even as he's dying, and I'm just touched by this, and I know there's some stuff amplified for Hollywood, but I just started thinking about Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. And if our faith is surface level. All we can do is imagine. When we begin to go deeper, I can tell you, I no longer have to imagine what it will be like to walk by his side. I do it every day. I no longer need to imagine what my eyes will see when his face is before me, because his face is before me every day. I'm already surrounded by his glory. I already know what my heart's going to feel. I already know that I will dance for him. I will not be still. I will sing for him. I will not be silent. I don't have to imagine anymore. Because Jesus did not die for me to get some gift one day. He died for me to have his presence today, to now, to live in the newness of life. He is the resurrection and the life. He does not come for us to die. He comes for us to live. Debbie, what was that new song we just sang? Waiting for you. Waiting here for you. I'm not picking on Debbie. It's a beautiful song. But it's nonsense. I'm not waiting for him. He's here waiting for me to realize he's here. Once again, I've talked about this several weeks in a row. Me sitting around waiting for God to come, waiting for God's presence, is a fish swimming around in water, waiting for the water to show up. He's already here. Have we recognized God's presence in our life? Are we aware of the fact that Jesus is the resurrection and the life? Are we aware of the fact that we don't have to continue living in the skin of the old self? That the oldness, the old ways, they can die. Because once again, I don't know what happens to people when they die. I have some pretty good ideas of what doesn't happen, but I don't know for sure what happens. But I don't want to know, and I don't want to find out what would happen to me if I died not coming to the realization that I was always in God's presence. I don't want to know what would happen if I died in my old self, to never be resurrected in the new self. And I'm thankful I don't have to take that journey. 11 years ago, the old self died. It was quickly replaced by a new false self. 2015, that false self died too. And several people have told me, Jimmy, we know your heart, and we're just going to keep praying for you, and we're sure, this is what somebody said to me, I'm sure one day you'll make a full recovery. I didn't. The toothpaste is out of the tube. It doesn't go back in. Once you've seen truth, you can't unsee truth. My false Christian identity died. I spent, and I told you guys this before, and I've been very honest with this, I spent several years getting up in front of you guys and preaching sermons that I didn't believe to be true. I spent years and years and years studying under Pastor Ed, not believing any of it to be true. Just kept waiting. Because I kept being told, if you just keep going, because Pastor Ed didn't teach me. This is an old Jewish thing. Just keep studying. The people who are studying to be rabbis, they don't believe in God. That's what I think is the rudest thing. Don't pull in a parking lot on Sunday and then just leave. You know what I mean? Just come in and say hi at least. But the old thing is you're studying to be a rabbi, but you don't believe in God. Just keep studying, and eventually God will show himself to you. And so that's what I just kept doing. I just kept waiting, and I kept waiting, and I kept waiting, and I kept waiting, and I kept waiting. And the God that I was learning about, the God that I was being taught about, the God that I was teaching, the God that I was preaching, never showed up. He never showed up. But one day, God grabbed a hold of me and said, hey, are you ready for the real thing? Are you ready? Because I called you for something, and it's not that. You can do that, and you can be really successful at that. But I've called you for something. Do you want what I have in store for you? Or do you want what the world has in store for you? And I said, I've always been kind of a gambling man. I've always liked taking the road less traveled. Yeah, I'll go with you. And he flipped my world upside down. But he's taught me a level of intimacy and deepness that I never thought possible. I really began to understand what it meant to be the resurrection and the life. I recognized that my faith wasn't about where I go when I die. My faith is about what I do with my life while I have it. Because he called me for a purpose. He called you for a purpose. And it's not to sit into a chair and put money in an offering plate. He called us to change lives. Now, in order to do that, we have to have people here, and we have to have money in the offering plate, so keep doing those things. But he called us. Are we living in the newness of life? Or did we let our old self die, and we're just hanging out in the tomb waiting for him to come take us in heaven? Or did we come out of the tomb and say, I have resurrected, I am back to life, I have been born again to never die again? Now, I firmly believe that one day my body is going to stop working, but I will not die. I already died the one death I ever have to die. And it was painful. It was tough. I had to let go of a lot of things. I had to let go of a lot of people. And it was really scary because I didn't know if what God had in store for me I was going to like it. I didn't know if I was going to like what he had in store. I liked what I had. I liked going to parties. I liked getting drunk. I liked having fun. Christians don't have any fun. I'm not going to like that. What if I don't like the new people? These people at the church, they're weird. This is a weird group of people. And please remember, some of the weird people who aren't here anymore. There's some weird people here. Shut it. I always tell Ann thinks she's like the most normal. Like, Ann's weird. The way she thinks, the things she does is weird. Right? You don't know her that well. But we're all weird, right? Because once again, what's normal? What's normal? Normal's fake. We're all weird. We all have different quirks and different things and different pet peeves and different things that stick out to us. But what are we going to do with what we have? What are we going to do with our unique? I won't say weird. Ann's not weird. She's unique. All right? That's better. But what are we going to do with our uniqueness? Once again, are we just going to hang out in the tomb, waiting to go to heaven? Or are we going to come out in the resurrection of life? Because once again, Jesus did not come so we could die. Jesus came so we can live. He says, I am the resurrection and the life. I'm not in John anymore. I just realized I never actually read the verse today. John 11:25, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live, even if he dies. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live, even if he dies. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? So why are we all just sitting around waiting to die? Why aren't we living? Why aren't we living in the newness of life that he promised us? Things still happen. There's still suffering in the world. There's no getting around that. Christians don't get to escape the sufferings of the world. But we don't have to be bound up by them either. The shackles are broken. We no longer have to kowtow to the world. We're not citizens of the world. We're citizens of the kingdom. I want to live in the resurrection. I want to have life. And I want it to be deep. And I want it to be grounded and deep and produce fruit for many, 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 many years. I want it to be planted on the good soil. Not on the road where it's going to be quickly eaten. Not on the rocky soil where it'll sprout up really quickly and spread, but eventually just quickly wither out and die off. Spread into the thorns that get it choked out. You know, when we had those high winds a few weeks ago, you know, I was driving out to my buddy lives out on Wolf Road, and I was heading out to his house, and we were having a little get-together, and I kept seeing several trees that had been blown over. And one of the things that was typical of all the trees that had been blown over, they had this huge root pattern, but it was flat. There were no roots going down. All the roots just went like this. And the winds blew, and the tree fell over because it wasn't rooted deep into the soil. So much of our faith is surface level. It's not rooted into the soil. It's not permanent. And Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. I came so you can have life, not to die. He's talking about a deepness. He's talking about going deeper into what life is and what life has to offer. That's what this is about as the Christian journey. It's not about going to heaven when you die. We got to go get people saved so they can go to heaven. We got to go get people saved so they don't have to burn in hell forever and ever and ever. How about we go get people saved so they don't have to keep living in the pain of the world? How about we go get people saved so they don't have to live in the darkness of the world? How about we go get people saved so they can begin to understand who they are in Christ and who they always were? How about we really begin to help people escape hell? By getting off of drugs, by getting out of their situations, by moving forward in life and reclaiming their life and their identity as theirs. As children of God, that first song we sang is so good. If I could ever preach a sermon as a song, that would be it. You were always a daughter. You were always a son. You just haven't always recognized it. You want to save people? That's what you tell them. Not, hey, I don't want you to go to hell when you die. Wait, why am I dead? Why do you got to go skip right to my death? What about my life? Jesus came to give us life. And we have come to Christ so we can help other people get life. Not life insurance. Life. So when Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life, that's what he's talking about. He wants to give us life. Amen?